It wasn't a kiss. I wish it had only been a kiss. Because a kiss can be denied, can be minimized, buried under a clumsy excuse. But what happened was slow, silent, and by the time we realized it, we were already living inside a betrayal that breathed. And the worst part is, I watched it grow. I saw it every day. I was her bodyguard, and she was the wife of the man I was sworn to protect with my life. I don't know when she started looking at me differently. Maybe it was that afternoon he stood her up at an event. I remember her frozen smile in front of the cameras. Perfect. Rehearsed. But when she got in the car, she broke. She didn't cry loudly. She didn't make a scene. She just exhaled. Like she'd been holding it in for years. Is it always like this? She asked suddenly. I didn't know if I was supposed to answer. Bodyguards don't give opinions. Don't ask questions. Don't exist. Yes, ma'am, I said finally. She laughed. But it was a tired laugh. The kind that carries no joy, only resignation. Don't call me ma'am. You make me feel old. That was the first moment she stopped being the politician's wife and started being a woman. People think infidelity is fire, passion, bed, sweat. No. Infidelity begins in shared silences. In long rides in the back seat. In glances through the mirror. In small conversations no one hears. In details no one sees. I knew how she took her coffee. I knew when she lied in public. I knew when her smile was forced. I knew she was lonely, and she knew I noticed. That's what connected us. Not desire. Loneliness. One night she asked me to walk with her to the terrace. She said she couldn't sleep. I was supposed to stay a few steps behind like always. Invisible. But the wind was strong. Her hair kept covering her face. She laughed softly, trying to push it away. And without thinking, I stepped closer. I shouldn't have. I did anyway. I held her hair back for a second. Just a second. But the world paused. She didn't move. Neither did. I felt her breathing. I felt my pulse in my throat. I felt the weight of everything that was wrong. And I still didn't step back. She whispered, "Thank you." And it wasn't about the hair. It was about being seen. About being acknowledged. Nothing happened that night. And yet, everything changed. After that, she started looking for me with her eyes. At events. In hallways. At the table when he talked about politics and empty promises. She looked at me like someone searching for an emergency exit. I tried to pull away. I asked for a shift change. I asked for reassignment. I asked for anything. They told me I was indispensable. What irony. Indispensable to protect her life. But no one protected mine. The first time she touched my hand was accidental. Or that's what we pretended. She stepped out of the car. Tripped on her dress. I caught her by reflex. Her hand closed around mine. She didn't let go immediately. Her fingers tightened. Her gaze lifted slowly. There was no surprise in her eyes. There was decision. That's when I knew we'd crossed an invisible line. And no one else knew. That made it worse. I didn't sleep that night. I thought about quitting. About running. About confessing if I had to. But I also thought about her laugh. The way she spoke to me when no one listened. How her voice changed when she stopped being a public figure and became human again. And I hated what I felt. Because it wasn't passing desire. It was affection. Connection. It was love. A word that had no right to exist between us. The infidelity wasn't planned. There was no conspiracy. No secret messages at first. Just coincidences we stopped avoiding. She sat closer. Spoke softer. Stayed a few seconds longer. Until one day she said, "If I disappeared, would anyone notice?" My chest cracked open. "I would," I answered. And there it was. The confession. Not of love, but of loyalty. And sometimes that's more intimate. The kiss came months later. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't wild. It was sad. She was crying. Another photo had surfaced of her husband with another woman. Another scandal. Another public humiliation. Another fake statement about a united family. I found her in the kitchen at dawn. Barefoot. Shaking. "I can't do this anymore," she said. I hugged her. I should have let go. I didn't. Her face pressed against my chest. I felt her tears. My hands hesitated and stayed. I held her like I could shield her from the world. She lifted her face and kissed me, soft, broken, desperate. It wasn't pleasure. It was refuge, and that made it unforgettable. After that, everything moved fast. Messages, stolen meetings, hands that no longer pretended to be accidents. Every moment carried guilt, but also a dangerous calm, like the outside world stopped existing when we were together. We knew it was wrong. We knew it in every breath. But the pain of denying it felt worse. The day we were caught, there was no screaming. That was the most terrifying part. He walked into the room, saw us, said nothing, didn't hit, didn't insult, just looked at us with a cold, calculated disappointment, like he'd expected it, like the betrayal wasn't a surprise, but confirmation. I was fired that night. No public scandal, no explanation. I vanished from her life like I'd never existed. She didn't call. She couldn't. I didn't reach out. I shouldn't. I thought the pain would be anger. It was emptiness, a huge silence, like losing something that was never yours, but felt necessary to breathe. Months passed before I heard about her. Still married, smiling in photos, perfect, untouchable, as if nothing had happened. And I understood something brutal. Love doesn't always win. Sometimes it just leaves scars. If you ask me whether I regret it, yes and no. I regret betraying my duty, hurting someone who trusted me, crossing a line I had no right to cross. But I don't regret loving her, because it was real. And what's real, even when it hurts, changes you. Infidelity isn't just a moral mistake. It's a multiplying wound. It doesn't hurt two people. It hurts everyone touched by the story. It breaks trust, breaks identity, breaks the version you had of yourself. And living knowing you were part of that is heavy. Heavy every day. If you're listening because you were betrayed, know this. Your pain isn't exaggerated. It isn't drama. It isn't weakness. It's grief. You're mourning a version of your life that no longer exists. And that deserves time, deserves respect. And if you're about to cheat, stop. Don't think about the thrill. Don't think about desire. Think about the after, the silence, the guilt, the shattered look in someone who trusted you. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is worth that price. Love doesn't need to hide. When it does, it's already sick. I was a bodyguard. I was supposed to protect, and I ended up destroying. I learned too late that some things aren't fixed with bravery or passion. They're fixed with boundaries. And when you cross them, the pain doesn't erase. It stays. It follows you. It reminds you who you were. I wish someone had stopped me. I wish someone had told me that the wrong love is dangerous too. Because it is. It doesn't kill the body, but it can break the soul. And rebuilding yourself after takes years. If the story hurts, it's because somewhere you saw yourself in it. And that means you still feel, still love, still hope for something better. Don't become the villain of your own life for a moment of weakness. Betrayal is never small. It always leaves marks. And some last forever. That was my mistake. That was my love. And that was the wound I chose. Don't repeat